This podcast was written and created by Avi Melamed, Middle East intelligence analyst and founder of the Inside the Middle East Institute.
Imagine trying to organize a protest when, well, just a single whispered complaint could get you thrown in a cell.
Right, no viral hashtags, no massive marches in the city square.
Exactly, just quiet, dangerous desperation. Welcome to today's deep dive. We are looking at the June 26 movement in Gaza, and this is based on a really detailed report by author Avi Melamed.
Yeah, and because we are dealing with the Middle East, we want to be totally upfront with you here. This deep dive covers, highly politically charged material.
Right. Our goal isn't to take a side or endorse a viewpoint. We are simply impartially reporting the ideas and realities presented in Avi Melamed's original source material.
Right, just to help you understand a dynamic that, honestly, rarely makes the evening news.
Exactly. So to grasp what actually happened on June 26, we have to look back a bit.
Yeah, Avi Melamed points out that we have to look back to 2007 when Hamas took control of Gaza. His report provides the context that for nearly 2 decades, military and ideological goals they've consistently eclipsed civilian welfare.
Right.
So the June 26 protests didn't just appear out of thin air. They are a direct continuation of a civic dissent movement called We Want to Live.
Which actually predates the events of October 7th, right?
Yeah, it goes back further.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because following the structure of Avi Melamed's analysis, if a governing authority faces a population saying, we want to live, how do they respond?
Well, he breaks down a 2-pronged strategy. First is, unfortunately, brute force.
Right, the physical suppression, like arrests and intimidation.
Yeah, shutting down any physical gatherings.
Yeah.
But physical force is really only half the equation here. The other half is controlling the narrative.
Right, it's like a classic authoritarian playbook. Rebrand genuine domestic unrest as, foreign interference to justify shutting it down.
Exactly. Avi Melamed outlines how Hamas launched this massive delegitimization campaign. They claimed Israeli intelligence was pulling the strings, pointing to public comments by former Shabak director Avi Dichter.
And just for context, Shabak is Israel's internal security service.
Right, so dropping that name immediately frames local protesters as foreign spies. And they also targeted activists living abroad, like Ramzi Harzala in Belgium.
Which is deeply ironic because didn't he flee after being arrested and tortured by Hamas back in 2016?
He did. It's incredibly ironic. And Avi Melamed's report even notes Hamas blaming the United Arab Emirates.
Mm-hmm.
They claim the UAE is funneling $100 million to anti-Hamas militias.
Wait, $100 million?
Yeah, supposedly through platforms like Jusur and the Fifth Column.
So why target the UAE specifically?
It is a really calculated scapegoat. The UAE is a prominent Arab state that recently normalized relations with Israel, so they are an easy target in Hamas's messaging.
I see.
By labeling the UAE as the financial backer, Hamas can brand these local protesters as mercenaries funded by, in their words, traitorous foreign states.
And what about those platforms they mentioned?
Well, the platforms they reference, like the Fifth Column, are assessed in Avi Melamed's report as likely being Hamas propaganda tools. They're just designed to look like independent watchdogs tracking collaborators.
Wow. So if the state apparatus is that suffocating, what does this actually look like for a civilian on the ground? How do they push back?
Avi Melamed captures this reality perfectly. He quotes Palestinian journalist Rowan al-Khatri, who says, "We want to live, not to die. We want a life of dignity, hope, and security."
It's just a basic plea.
Exactly. But obviously, a massive march didn't materialize. The paralyzing fear of violent repression kept the masses at home.
All right, so the activity that did happen was pushed out to the margins, specifically to displacement camps east of the Yellow Line.
Yeah, the demarcation border separating Gaza and Israel. Because those specific camps are currently in areas under Israeli control, Hamas has less immediate reach there.
But that creates a massive governance vacuum in those camps.
Right, and as we know, nature abhors a vacuum. Avi Melamed's report mentions local clans stepping in to provide basic services.
But wait, here's where I'm confused. Avi Melamed identifies this huge contradiction, right? The official clan leaders are publicly supporting Hamas for order, yet individual members of those exact same clans are the ones secretly protesting. Does this silent rebellion mean Gaza's traditional social pillars are quietly fracturing?
That tension makes this movement incredibly significant. These clans are the absolute bedrock of Gazan society.
Right.
So if the elders are towing the party line for survival, but the youth and lower-ranking members are risking their lives to dissent, yeah, it signals a quiet fracturing.
Wow.
It hasn't evolved into an organized political party yet, But the criticism is clearly spreading through these fundamental networks.
Which brings us to the final dimension of Avi Melamed's report, and it's a really uncomfortable collision between this local struggle and the international community.
It really is.
Because the messaging Hamas uses, calling protesters traitors who undermine the resistance, is actually getting a boost from Western audiences.
It is a tragic loop. Avi Melamed explains how when certain Western intellectual circles romanticize the concept of resistance as this blanket moral virtue, they inadvertently adopt Hamas's vocabulary.
Right.
And in doing so, they leave absolutely no room for the voices of actual Gazans who are desperately trying to protest against their own government.
Think about what that means for you watching this unfold from afar. International discourse, even thousands of miles away, can effectively drown out authentic local cries for basic dignity.
Exactly. It validates the suppression of internal dissent and ultimately prolongs the suffering of the very people those international observers often claim to support.
Well, we want to leave you with this exact quote from the report to mull over. Palestinian commentator Fazil Al-Manasfa wrote, "Hamas answers the demand we want to live with the slogan of resistance, once again demonstrating that the well-being of Gaza's people is not its foremost priority."
This podcast is made possible by supporters like you. ITME is an independent, nonprofit institute committed to apolitical, intelligence-based Middle East education.
To learn more or to support our work, visit our website www.insidethemiddle-east.com.